Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Landon Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Landon.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Appreciate it.
All right, Roku. We were going to talk about this last Friday, but we moved it to today to hit on Tesla. But this is a stock that's been underperforming, Landon. And I remember talking about this over the past few years. The aggregator out there of all these streaming apps that people subscribe to. But at the same time, stock underperformance kind of warrants a little bit of hesitation here. Do you guys have data that supports this, or is this a buying opportunity?
You know what? I mean, I'll get to it. I think it might be a buying opportunity. You got to have some risk tolerance, though. I mean, this is a stock that was trading around $60, had blowout earnings, went up to, I think, as high as 108, and then the opposite happened. It right back down to 64, dipped as low as, I think, 51, and now we're right back at that sort of low level. So it's almost as if the last 6 months didn't happen, right back where we started. Frustrating for investors, I'm sure, but it could be an opportunity. I mean, this is a company that's done really, really well with UI and UX. I mean, they've nailed the experience for customers, trying to figure out the fragmentation of digital content. And right now, advertisers are following viewers into digital, and this has been happening for a long time. I mean, people have been cutting the cord for a decade now or longer, and Roku's been taking advantage of it. They're the market leader, but they've got a lot of competition coming at them. I mean, you can see here in this chart the number of people using pay TV versus non-pay TV, and this is obviously what is good for Roku. I mean, the more people that are on this chart moving to the up and to the right is great. I mean, they're going to make more money. They've got this new program called Roku Exchange. It's AI driven. I don't know how much AI they're actually using, but basically they're connecting premium ad inventory with advertising demand, and they're optimizing strategies to get viewers the ads that are relevant to them, things that they might watch and click on, and drive more advertising dollars. So I think they're showing the promise of what they can do with technology. They're also integrating with Google Display and Video, Yahoo DSP, and the Trade Desk (TTD). So these are all really strong programs that connect advertiser dollars with viewers' eyes, and Roku's in the middle of that. Now, you look at this web visit data, it's not very compelling, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that chart, of the stock chart, but it's down a little bit on a year-over-year basis. But you got to take this chart with a grain of salt, because there's not a lot of people saying, I'm going to go get a Roku. I'm talking about Roku. It's more like Roku's just integrated into their television sets. Nowadays, you're not buying a Roku device nearly as much as you used to. You're buying a TV that has Roku enabled. And it's just whether or not, you love that experience. And most of the consumers are loving that experience. One thing that gives me a little bit of optimism is, they're dipping their toe into live sports. They've got, I think, 18 Major League Baseball games with no blackout restrictions that they're going to be trying. I mean, that's a low number of games, but they're going to be trying it out. And I think it's a good Roku is a potential great solution to the fragmentation of live sports. I mean, if you think about, if you're an NFL fan and you want to watch a lot of games, you got to have so many different accounts to be able to watch the Thursday game, sometimes the Saturday morning or Saturday night game, the Sunday, all the games on Sunday, the Monday night game, all those. There's just so many different providers and networks that you have to have. And if you didn't have something like Roku, and to go into each one of those would be just maddening. And so I think that there is some opportunity for them to just streamline and make the user experience great, like they've done with television and movies, is just give you one place where you can go and find anything. And then you don't care if you have to subscribe to A or B. It's just, I want to watch it. So where do I have to go? All right, there it is, and I'll watch it now. So I think Roku's doing a great job with that. And I think that sports could be the next big thing for Roku, if they can sort of bring that user experience and that interface to combat the fragmentation of live sports. So I am bullish on this company long term, definitely more at 62 than I would be at 100. I think this is a potential opportunity. Of course, this fear is you've got Amazon, you've got Google, and you've got Apple coming after you, right? They are aggressively expanding into this space. And, if I could pick 3 companies to not compete against, those would probably be the top of my list. So they are they're the leader, but they got big boys coming after them. So it's it's not exactly a binary bet, but you could make the argument that it is. It either goes to 0 in 10 years or 10x's in 10 years. And, I like those odds. I either lose 100% or I gain 1,000%. That kind of trade I'm in for. And it may be that kind of trade. I'm not sure. But I think that they're on the path to profitability despite the competition. And so at this price, I do think it's worth a bet. Not a huge, portion of your portfolio, but I do like the odds here.
This stock was on fire during the pandemic, but the cold winter that's been going on in this stock over the last couple of years is, frankly, in my opinion, everyone that's trading AI names that have gone to crazy valuations should look at a chart like Roku and understand winners and losers, or what happens, or inability to become profitable, which I think really weighs on this name. I think you're right. I think advertising and sports are the key to them going forward. But here's something that we don't talk about all the time. Their profitability metrics are getting better. Their market share is getting a little better. And this price tag in the low 50s seems to be a level that it stays at, right? And it doesn't really break down there. But Landon, they've got to get profitable soon. And so I don't know of a company that needs a beat and raise more than Roku does. Landon, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely right. And I agree. This, basing out here in the low 60s, it seems safe. That's kind of like famous last words,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But it kind of feels that way if you look at the chart. Like low 60s is how, it dipped to 51 and then it rebounded back up. But you're right. I mean, in Q1 they reported I think it was a $51 million loss, which was better than a year prior, which was 194 million. Their gross profits are up 15%. Their operating expenses are down 16%. So they're headed in the right direction. They've got a ways to get there, though, and I think a lot of analysts are expecting them to turn a profit maybe in 2026, right? That's kind of the goal. So if you can stomach another 6 quarters of losses, maybe smaller losses each time, then you're on that path. And of course, once they do turn that profit, everybody's going to want to get a piece. So now's the time if you think they're on that path. But yeah, they are doing really well as far as being a market leader. They've got 80 million active accounts. That streamed 100 billion hours of content. Listen to this, they're averaging 4 hours per day per account, which to me seems really, really high. 4 hours is a big number, and to think that's the average, that means there's people out there doing 8 to 10 hours a day. It's just like, wow, that's incredible. But yeah, Roku's the market leader. I love the roadmap ahead of them. I hate the competition, but you got to expect that once you get big enough and you're talking about the potential to make a lot of money, you're going to have these guys coming after you. So I do like the opportunity again with the live sports, combating that fragmentization. And so 62 feels somewhat safe, famous last words, but I really don't think you've got more than 15 to 20% of downside, judging by how it moved at against 51 not too long ago. So I think we've got earnings maybe coming up in a week and a half, something like that. So we're going to be tuning into that one very closely.
Yeah, we'll see if that's a catalyst on the 25th as they face competition that you mentioned, Landon. Walmart in the process of buying Vizio also, so that could cause some headwinds perhaps, but pretty good data here, and you like the setup. Great stuff. As always, Landon, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Landon Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, breaking down the data on Roku. It's data